You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's go over some position groups where I think there's going to be a lot of competition this offseason. And I cannot wait for the spring when we actually get our first look at Syracuse's offense. And let's get the obvious out of the way, right? But we have to talk about it because it's going to be the main story throughout the entire offseason and well into the start of the season. And that's the quarterback competition. You got Rickie Collins. You got Jakari Williams. You got Michael Johnson Jr. You got Luke Carney. You got Rich Bellin, right? That's 5 players. And our first look at them is going to be that spring game. And we're going to get clarity on who is likely to enter fall camp as the starting quarterback. Things could change pretty quickly, but that's going to be our first look, is that spring game for these quarterbacks. My guess as of right now, and it's subject to change, but it's probably not going to change for quite a while until I'm proven otherwise wrong, is that Rickie Collins will be the starting quarterback for the Orange. The reason why I say this is because he is the LSU transfer. He is entering his 3rd year of college, even though he's got 3 years of eligibility, right? One of those years was a redshirt year at LSU, and he's a former top prospect. So Syracuse is hoping to develop him and make him a full-time starter for this upcoming season. Now, look, he's not someone that's going to be given the job right away. By no means. I mean, even if he wins the job, which I think he ultimately will, I don't think he's going to get the longest leash in the world. I don't think anyone on the roster has earned that right to have such a long leash. But I still think he's going to be the starter, and who knows, right? He could be really good. He could not be really good, but there is going to be a quarterback competition. I think as of right now, Rickie Collins will win the job. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. The only quarterback really I would be surprised that actually starts a good bit next year is Michael Johnson Jr. And the reason why I say this is because I understand he was the backup last year to Kyle McCord, but with Michael Johnson Jr., how much upside are you really getting with him? Right? Syracuse football, it seems like, as demonstrated with their 35-person recruiting class in 2025 and not taking a lot of players in the portal, and the fact that most of the quarterbacks on the roster are young, that this is a team, this coaching staff, they want to play the young guys and see who they can build around in coming years and who, well, let's face it, they can't build around in coming years. So what would necessarily be the point of playing Michael Johnson Jr. unless he is head and shoulders better than everyone else in that quarterback room? Like, if he's better than everyone else, fine, right? But if it's even a tie or it's close, I say you play the young guy because everyone's young. So let's see what we got, right? See if there's any sort of potential there with the other young guys. Luke Carney could certainly earn the job. Rich Bellin could earn the job. Those are both true freshmen. Jakari Williams, a lot of people like him. He was a 2024 3-star recruit. Perhaps he can earn the job. My guess between now and the spring is that Rickie Collins will be the starting quarterback for the Orange in 2025. The other position group where I think there's going to be a lot of competition with is outside wide receiver. There are a ton of names to go over, but I only have a few of them listed. And also, I should throw this out here, I would not be surprised if the Orange actually added a wide receiver in the spring. When we had on Mike McAllister for 24/7 Sports, he mentioned that Syracuse may look to add another wide receiver, another field-stretching guy. And the reason why he said this is because the Orange were going after Amari Evans from Penn State, a field-stretching wide receiver from them. Now, ultimately, he decided to go to Washington, but Syracuse did at least get him in the building for a visit for what it's worth. But that's a cue, that's a clue as to where the staff may be looking in the spring portal window, which I'll get to in just a moment, that they could look to add. But you got Daryl Gill, Maury Hatcher, Zeed Haynes, Justice Ross Simmons, Emmanuel Ross. There are so many guys to talk about. Daryl Gill as someone who I think could have a really big 2025. I think he's going to be elevated from where he was last season. He was a 5th option for the Orange last year. Amari Hatcher is a veteran deep threat. You got Zeed Haynes. Who knows what we're going to get from Zeed Haynes? He was supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver last year, but he only played 2 games. You got Justice Ross Simmons, also supposed to have a big role last year. And then you got Wally Pipt. And you got Emmanuel Ross. He was a 2024 4-star recruit. Is he going to take a sophomore jump? That's a play on the sophomore slump. Most people say sophomore slump in regards to having a good rookie year and then a bad second year. I say sophomore jump, right? For Emmanuel Ross, he's going to take that next step. Maybe. The point is that there's going to be a lot of competition for those outside wide receiver spots. I say Daryl Gill gets at least one, and who knows with the other. We'll just have to see what happens in the spring and into fall camp. So leave your thoughts on that in the comments section below. Starting quarterback, I think will be Rickie Collins, but it's not a guarantee. Outside wide receiver, again, lots of competition. I'm going Daryl Gill, and if I had to throw another one out there, I will say Amari Hatcher.